Well, hello there, good morning everybody. We are here with more Boldores and Boomsticks. Yes, I know I didn't fix the screen yet, it's still just the old one, and yeah, it still has Pikachu here for some reason. We will need to make a new one. Look at that quaff, hey! Oh yeah, I typoed there. But first, you made a new word. Are you sure I am the first one who typoed coffee like that? I'm pretty sure there were people who wrote coffee and coffee and coffee and coffee. So I'm pretty sure that's not a new word. But here we are with chapter 20. Like the feast of the angry god. Wow, I guess we are not gonna have this happy music for this one. I mean, Tyrion just retreated and the league is ready to strike. Oh, you're hyping it up, I see, Ilya. You're hyping the chapter up. We are only gonna do one chapter though, and I need to wake up a little bit more. Sadly, I'm gonna work in the afternoon, so I cannot do two chapters, because then I won't be able to stay awake at work. So let's see, something. Sure. Are we ready to start? I guess we should be. Can I read today? Good question. Something dark side. Ready. Okay. Let's hope we can read today. Chapter 20. Like the feast of an angry god. The days since Team RWBY's first meeting with the Elite Four had been busy ones. Not only did they handle briefing Lance and his teammates on the strategic and tactical necessities of fighting the Grim, they also took the opportunity to learn more about what it meant to be a Pokemon trainer. It seems I won't be able to read perfectly today. But when was it a thing? The problem was that before long, Grim started nosing around the outskirts of a number of towns and cities across the region. There were no major attacks, thankfully, but the reports were near constant. And occasionally, they were worrying enough that the experts felt the need to go and help deal with the matters personally. Lance and Professor Oak had their hands full maintaining calm without underselling the danger, so it fell for the Elite Four and Team RWBY, with little help from Casey, Tracy, Gary and Riley to respond to corps for help. Where the hell are the other Aura Masters? You are not the only one, Riley. You should actually contact the other ones. Sometimes the Grim would attack, sometimes they would withdraw in the face of superior force, sometimes they were enough present to threaten the town, sometimes it would just be a single pack of werewolves. On the third day after the meeting, there were enough requests for assistance that the huntresses had to divide into Team RU and B to cover things adequately. With one partner per headed into Kanto, and the other back into Johto. It was something of an unfortunate oversight that led to more petite girls who were skirts into battle, ending up with the ones sent to reinforce a man known for condescension and chauvinism? What the heck is this word? First day, word of the day, I guess. Chauvinism meaning exaggerated and aggressive patriotism. Wow, okay. I have never seen this word, or heard, or didn't even know what this means. Who is a man for condescension and chauvinism? Oh, I see. It's in green immediately. Lieutenant Surge. My bad for not pre-reading. This guy with the electric mouse. Lieutenant Surge, gym leader of Vermilion City, leaned back against the wall and sighed. As an army man, he was no stranger to the phenomenon of hurry up and wait, but that certainly didn't mean he liked it. Meaning he's very annoying. Well, it's kinda. Yeah, he's like the type of guy who was like, okay, I want this, and you have to do this as well, because I want it. Because for the flag! For the 100th time, yeah, that's Lieutenant Surge. If you know the little stories about Lieutenant Surge, and see, you might actually see the dark side of Pokemon. For the 100th time, he gave serious consideration to just going out and dealing with the problem himself. But the 100th time, he decided against it. He didn't make it through two towers of service in Warzone by neglecting the warnings of his commanding officers, or by refusing the aid of specialists when it was on offer. Is he though? I don't remember that part. I don't remember that part, that he would be a sexist. The massive arm shifted in place a bit as he adjusted his holster and the gun it contained. It had been well over a decade. The gun, which is basically deleted in the series. It had been well over a decade since the sidearm had been lost fire in anger, but the soldier had been punctilious in keeping his skills sharp, pushing at least one box of ammo down range every week and performing maintenance after every session. Still, he wasn't used to the constant weight on his belt anymore, and was getting annoying. At his feet, the Raichu called Sarge yawned and scratched behind his ear. The oversized mouse wasn't, strictly speaking, the strongest Pokemon at his disposal. That honor went to Electrive, but he was one of Surge's longest serving and most reliable subordinates. Sarge was also great for serving as an impossible barrier for what few little baby trainers say about a challenging Vermilion gym. There's only one episode that has gone, and it was everywhere in that episode. No, there was another episode which was basically blocked, but it was not Team Rocket who had the gun at that episode. The giant hated battling weakling citizens. The ones who didn't know the first thing about real conflict, and though that throwing down a ground type would be enough to guarantee themselves a Thunder Badge. It actually does guarantee themselves a Thunder Badge in the game. Usually. Pitting Electrive or Magnezone against 2 badge, 1 badge, and especially no badge trainers was severely frowned upon. While technically Raichu was acceptable, no matter how experienced he was, and doing so generally did the job of ensuring only serious trainers challenge search. The trainers who had been out there, trainers who had some experience under their belts and hair on their chests. The occasional dumb kid who, with the smartest Pikachu, notwithstanding of course. Surge was snapped out of his wool gathering by the sound of the gym's front door opening, and he rose to his feet, glad that the reinforcements promised by the League had finally arrived, only to be disappointed by the sight of a pair of teenage girls looking around like tourists, and each sporting an unevolved Pokemon like socialites. Is that how you say that word? Socialite? Socialite spurs Poppy. He sighed, irritated that the brats had ignored the obvious close sign on the doors. Come to think of it, the cop Jelly should have guns. Use them more. They usually use Pokemon and batons. Rubber batons. Pokemon are mostly just more dangerous than guns, so that makes sense. If you send out an Arcanine against Rubber Band, they are sure to stop, right? It's like instead of using guns in the real world, they would pack rocket launchers or flamethrowers. Electric type gym! Wow! Can you imagine Nora in a place like this? Oh god. Red Hat in cloak, and Corset was saying, Zubat, seriously she brought a flying type and a cave herpes as that? A cave herpes. Passion her head like a precious widow heart. Oh, it's a widow. Okay. It's the widow when they are renaming the Pokemons. I see. Cave herpes. RWBY, I can safely blame you for nightmares for the next weeks. The other girl sighed. She has a rod cradled in her arms, and a single angry Pokeball clipped to her butt. The anger wasn't necessarily a bad sign, but she was dressed like a rich girl, and if the little baby of Pokemon really was her only team member, it didn't look good. Wow! You think Rods is not a good Pokemon? You can win literally every fight with just Rods. If you want to. I guess if criminals used Pokemon, Ghost would have to respond in kind necessity. Well, if we continue on by the logic of this series right here, of this fanfiction, guns don't work on Pokemon because they have aura as well. That is your answer. Had 2 lines, read the 2 above. Wait, what? Oh. I didn't see that for some reason. It's likely that bullets would fail to get through the high. Or they would dodge it with something like a weak attack. Yes. And we saw how badly Tyrion fared against Dragon Knight with his little guns. Professor Oak didn't even have to move. A rich girl with a single cutesy unaware Pokemon and a personalized Pokeball prays for a tantrum when he turned them away. At least it probably wouldn't be as bad as a tantrum she would throw after losing. Surge stepped forward, clearing his throat. He ignored the startled looks at the pair spotted as they caught sight of him, and turned their gazes up, and up, and up at his face. He was used to people's reactions to meeting a man over 8 feet tall. I thought he was 6. For some reason the sprite looks... in the game, the sprite looks is a little bit pushed together, and he's just wide, not tall. But in the anime actually looks tall, yes. James Close, girlies! Legs business. Try pewter if you are lucky. Brock will be your challenge, and he will be too busy hitting on you to actually fight. The redhead blinked, owlish at him, but the other girl simply quirked an eyebrow. I think you got the wrong idea, Lieutenant, she said. We are the league's business you are waiting on. Serge started at the oddity the little girl displayed. Go home and play with your dollies, kid. You are sure as hell not who I am waiting for, and I said James Close. She threw. Lieutenant, you know, if they were civilians, they wouldn't even know about the league's business, and that you are waiting at them. You know as well. She threw herself up and glared at him, further cementing his initial impression. Rather than listening to an inevitable retort, Surge went on the offense. Besides, even if I was taking challengers, neither of you stand a chance with those little baby Pokemon you are toting. Come back after they have evolved with a few times, and maybe you will actually make my righteous put some effort in. Right! Surge agreed, giving the other 2 Pokemon a nasty grin. Red stared at him. Red? Ruby Red? Yeah. Red stared at him for a moment before turning her petulant friend. Wow, I guess it's true what Uncle Crow says about military intelligence. The white-haired rich girl glared back. You remember that my sister is in the military, right? What's your point? The pale girl rolled her eyes before returning to attention to the soldier. That's some big tough for a big man who is hiding in a mouse's shadow. Literal mouse. Wait, his name is Red? Wait, is his name actually Sarge Red? Full name, where is full name? It doesn't say full name here. Yeah, just call it Lieutenant Surge. Well, there is a character named Red. Was surprised to learn he is here. No, he's calling the girl Red. Ruby. Because she is red. It's in the point of Sarge's point of view. There is the red girl and there is the little white rich girl. Sarge narrowed his eyes. Excuse you? You are right about one thing, if only by chance. Whisper here is a baby Pokemon. She's only recalled. And yet, I'm willing to bet she's already far stronger than you are. I don't know, Vice. The rat has sighed lightly. At least this guy is armed. He is the first one I've seen with some kind of weapon, even if it's just a pistol. Let's just put some effort into the just a pistol. Just girl, don't try to act like you know what you are talking about. Oh, I can see RWBY just. Oh, let me show you what a real weapon is. The Lieutenant drew his sidearm, raising it up to gleam under the gym's lighting. They were pointing safety upwards and thinking no one near the trigger. Surge took gun safety seriously. This is Mark 7, Desert Brewery. I like how they call it Desert Brewery instead of Desert Eagle. Chambered for 50 caliber Action Express, and if you try to fire it, it will snap your wrist in half. Yes, it actually would. For a normal girl, not for RWBY. Because I'm pretty sure that RWBY is actually sporting a 50 caliber as well. Or even... But not the 50 caliber action... but actually a 50 cal sniper rifle bullet. This gun saved my life more times than I can remember. I can't remember, and you would do well to expect that. Oh, that's not a knife. Now this is a knife. Knife. Wait, what is that reference to? I heard that before, but I don't know where it is. But that reminds me of... Oh, this is not full auto. This is... Oh, that, yeah, Crocodile Dundee. At his size, Sarge rolled his eyes. His trainer was just a little protective of his weapon, possibly a result of too many compensation jokes during his term of service. The Raichu was more concerned by the way these girls talked about human fighting a Pokemon so casually. Weren't the reinforcements they were waiting on supposed to have done that? That had eyed a massive pistol and frowned. 50 cal? Well, I guess you could get some results if your aim is good. Hey, RWBY! You know that there is one person in the universe who is literally like Lieutenant Surge, using the same weapon and can fight. The Zubat lifted off her head a second before the grass seemed to blur, and the twist of red shot towards the soldier and spiraled around him. RWBY sat on Sarge's broad shoulder, his gun in her hand, as she examined it critically. The man gazed at her, uncomprehending. She is still looking at it critically. It's just a gun. It's just a little pistol. It's nothing like a fire sword or a sight with a rifle installed in it. It's not like it's a gun too. No, it's just a gun. It's not polished if anything else. It's very polished if nothing else. RWBY's hand moved in swift practice motions, and suddenly the pistol was disassembled, the component parts held easily between her fingers, and reviewed their condition. While I had no signs of corrosion, you do a good job maintaining it. Wait a minute. She slipped the massive cartridge from the magazine, and glared at her temporary seat. Hollow points? In a 7th round mag? I hope you weren't planning on fighting anything worse than a few creeps, or you would be in real trouble. It's a legendary artifact in Pokemon world. While might be compared to most Pokemon, it's also rare in that franchise. Yeah, but it's still usable against people, right? I mean, He's using hollow points, so... Shield off Surge's shoulder, and reassembled the weapon into perfect working order in less than 10 seconds. For your sake, I hope you have at least get some AP or high X rounds for this thing. Suddenly, Surge accepted his ground back, staring blankly at the tiny girl. She misinterpreted his confused look and tried to explain. Armor piercing or highly explosive? Grim tend to ignore body shots until it's enough to tear them apart. Cause they don't really have organs, but the armor plates on most guys can stand up to a hollow point, especially the armor on the heads. Sarge continued to stare at her, before shifting his gaze to Vice, who was smirking at the display. Even Rats and Zubat were giggling. RWBY continued, unaware or unconcerned with Sarge's state of cognitive dissonance. I use 75 caliber rounds in crescent rows, which gives me a lot more stopping power, or anything less fair amount than their Stalker. Full metal jackets, but generally I have a few specialty rounds for when I need them. Whoa! Sarge interrupted. 75 caliber, that's insane! Like his boss, even an ultimate rounds aren't that big. What the hell is a crescent rose besides overkill? Sarge tucked his trainer's pants leg before chittering something with the air of one reciting something from memory. Sarge glared down at him. Don't you Maxim the 37 me? Maxim 37 me? It's ridiculous! The soldier looked back at RWBY, and his mouth fell open at the sight of a massive sight that had suddenly unfolded in her arms. A sight with the receiver, magazine, and the protection system halfway down the haft. Maxims of Maximality Effective Mercenaries. These are wiki pages, basically. Okay. Vice was frowning again. Maxim 37? Whisper grinned up at her sister. He said, there is no overkill, there is only open fire and reload. I like it. Vice shook off the feeling of indescribable dread Whisper's last comment somehow evoked, and decided to cut the argument short while Surge was still gaping at the high caliber sniper's sight. Who is talking? If you are sufficiently convinced that we are more than a couple of pretty faces, perhaps we could get on with things. I was under the impression that the Grim were threatening Vermilion City. Sarge stared at Vice for a long moment before letting out a long, slow breath. Maxim 69. Sometimes rank is a function of firepower. He holstered his weapon and gestured toward the door labeled Authorized Personnel Only. After you, boss. He says he thinks that RWBY is higher rank now because she has a higher caliber rifle. Makes sense. Not really. Because usually snipers have bigger calibers than foot soldiers and lieutenants as well. Sure. They had retired to the gym's lounge, home to a pair of round couches, a mini fridge, and a microwave. The only element of the room that looked like more than an afterthought was a large display case mounted on the wall, containing framed photos, mementos of Surge's military days, and a trio of thunderstones, which left Vice feeling nervous about the immense concentration of power they represented. Sarge sat on one of the couches with Raichu beside him, and spread a map of Vermilion City out on the table. So, I've been getting reports about sightings around the outskirts, mostly to the east, the officer said, pointing out a few sites. I have only seen the things handful of times myself. They are usually gone by the time I can get there. What do they look like? RWBY, creating knocks and scratching behind his ears. Biggest furry wolf things. They attacked the first time and Sarge here fried the half dozen before they fell back. The other times they booked it as soon as they saw us. Beowulfs, I said, unsurprised. Think of them as basic line infantry. The first thing most people think of when they hear creatures of game. There's another around too, or else they wouldn't have run. RWBY added. Hopefully it's not their elder. I assume there is something more? Weiss glanced at Surge appraisingly. I get the feeling you wouldn't have called for assistance for such a small threat. Yeah, you're right about that. I haven't seen it myself, but a few travelers came running into town with tales of something way bigger and nastier, but the stories don't match up. Conflicting reports. He said with a roll of his eyes, the joy of getting intel from series. Well, what do you got? RWBY asked. We might be able to make sense of it. The first time somebody came running into town screaming about something about bigger than what you call limbs, wolves. They described something that sounded like a giant revenant. Serge noticed the confusion in his guest's eyes and clarified. Ghost type? Looks like a possessed tree. Oh yeah, the tree revenant. These things. I have not seen these too much because they are, I think they are in later series. But yeah, these things right here. The Trevenant. Why did they appear? I'm curious. Oh, they appeared in X first. That's why I don't see them often. Because they are not in the earlier series. Maybe there were some hyper, yeah. RWBY and Weiss immediately shot each other, worried look. Okay, yeah, we know what it is, the redhead said. Guys, no, that's a different one. It's from the RWBY thing. The poltergeist thing. The one that can possess actually. What the heck is this ad on the side? I just open up the picture. There we go. That thing, which can possess objects. Like I said, I just had look in her eyes. Thankfully, a rare variety of Grimm. In their base form, they are mostly harmless and defenseless, but they can possess inanimate objects that are scarce with the durability and lethality of whatever they are inhabiting at the time. Another one of the Grimms that were basically introduced a lot later in the series, like chapter 5, I think, where they first fought it, or 6, I don't know. I think it was 5. Wait, if they fought Tyrion in 4, then it was 4 as well. You've never actually fought the ones before, at least not yet. RWBY admitted, but if it's using wood as his body, it's not so bad. You have never fought one before, Weiss muttered. Seeing her partner surprised, she elaborated. It was before I came to Beacon, but no matter what sort of body it's in, I take it seriously. It will inevitably be able to easily crush you underfoot and repair its lost limbs. With whatever it's lying around. To defeat the guys, you need to either destroy enough of its shell to leave it exposed and finish it before it possesses something else, or you need to strike it with both precision and underwhelming force to destroy it in one shot. A difficult task, even if it isn't armored. RWBY stared at her for a long moment, Will standing behind her and gleaming eyes. Armored? Like an armor gigas? Wise, did you fight an armor gigas before coming to Beacon? Serge frowned as RWBY looked amazed. The hell is an armor gigas? Oh yeah, it's... Wait, that's a Grim then? I just realized what RWBY meant. The armor gigas is basically the thing that Weiss fought in her trailer. In her original trailer. The big armor. Only the coolest and stupidest thing in the history of warfare, that's what. I don't know, I was in the army for a few years and I saw some really stupid crap. Impressed me. Okay, so people have been trying to use the grave against their enemies since forever, right? Oh, it's a geist in the armor. Okay, that makes sense. RWBY explained. Try and bait them or force them to go where you want. Or hit the other guys that they were receiving from the green attack. Sounds sketchy as hell, but like possible war crime sketchy, but not really stupid. Maxim 54. The best way to win a one-on-one fight is to be the third to arrive. That is true. Yeah, but the problem is that Grim always, every single time, do some damage to the enemy. They actually turn right around and attack the guys who try to weaponize them way harder. Every time. RWBY rolled her eyes. Some guys went, hey, you know how this plan never works? Let's make it even number. Weiss cleared her throat clearly. To answer your actual question, Lieutenant, armor gigas is the term for when a guy possesses an oversized suit of armor, built for the purpose. RWBY nodded sagely, stroking Nox like a spy flick with a cat. Yup, 20-foot tall knights, complete with giant swords possessed by uncontrollable killing machines, and trapped in front of the enemy lines, while the follow-up force is praying that the things are all destroyed before they turn around. Yeah, it's basically like biological weapons. Sarge considered that for a moment. Yeah, that's pretty freaking stupid, alright. So how did you end up fighting one? Weiss didn't answer for a moment. RWBY nodded as she noticed the problem with her partner's claim. Yeah, no military is used one of those since before the Great War. So why did you even find it? Weiss still didn't answer, her face like stone. Whisper looked up at her from her seat, upon the Harris's knee. Eyes wide. Little Psychic reached up to her big sister's face and gently traced her scar like her ran down over her left eye. Your daddy sucks, she said softly, anger building as she read Weiss's emotions. RWBY often came across as naive, but she was still an intelligent young woman. She instantly understood, at least in general, what Whisper was getting at. Yeah, this was never mentioned in the series, right? Of why she was fighting an armor gigas. But this insinuates that it was purposely. Weiss, on the other hand, was for the first time regretting that her partner was more insightful than she often acted. Before the redhead could say anything, the pair girl simply said, in tones that brooked no refusal. What did the second report describe, Lieutenant? Sarge, having watched the entire exchange silently, allowed her unspoken desire not to talk about it. Something similar, but the body and legs were stacked boulders. Assuming that there is just one of these things, it must have upgraded. That does increase the potential threat of guys' poses if it turns itself into battering us. Vice said, ignoring RWBY's employee guys. It's certain within our capabilities, though. I assume you will be able to offer support. A former officer nodded, tapping a line of Pokeballs along his path. That's right, a full team of my strongest, with the rest divided between defending the gym and cooperating with the local PD to give them some extra firepower. There is a handful of trainers in town strong enough to help without putting themselves at too much risk too. Good, Vice said. Considering the tactical situation, the guys will require our full attention to defeat, and certainly won't be alone. I'm actually learning a lot about RWBY lore as well while reading this, because some is actually part of the lore, a real part of the lore, not just fiction. I mean, the whole RWBY series is fiction, I know, but I mean, canon to the series, that's what I meant. Before planning could go any further, the landmine phone hanging off the lounge's wall began ringing. Oh, landline, not landmine. I was like, wait, what? I really did a double take. Like, what is a landmine phone? Landline phone hanging off the lounge's wall began ringing. So I was standing and had it in hand before the second chime finished. Search, go. Right. How far out? Right, mobilizing car. Now, get them going. He slammed the handset down and turned to the girls with a fire in his eyes. Big guy and vanguard of werewolves and bear things are headed towards the town from northeast. Good news that if we move fast, we can intercept them before they get into the residential areas. RWBY and Vice were on their feet, already heading for the door. What sort of terrain are we looking at, if not houses and apartments? They assessed, checking that her sword was ready for a quick draw. Forest outside of town, open field on the approach. Big construction site with half-finished shopping mall on the outer edge of town. Cops are already evacuating their workers. Perfect, RWBY chuckled. If we can keep it in the field, it won't have anything to possess once we damage it. Oh no. I can only see that it's gonna reach the building site. And we don't need to worry about the collateral damage. This won't be any trouble at all. Let's just have some fun rock with this. We're in trouble! The grim little groaned. RWBY, Vice growled. Shoulders hunched in indignant rage. I know, I pulled a yank, sorry, RWBY whimpered. Before them, the guys finished forming itself into a new configuration. The baleful bone white mass glinted from the massive barrel of a cement mixing truck. Freshly torn from the vehicle's mountings. Yeah, we could see it from far away. That is, they are gonna reach the construction site. Steel I-beams swung from the sides, and he stamped forward on legs made from concrete pilings reinforced with rebar. Thanks, RWBY, you jinxed it all. Scarlet traceries flowed across every part of it. Even as they faded from the boulders strewn across the yard, the rims formed a body discarded like a hermit crab shell. The monster's one-eyed gaze fell on the group and stepped forward. The impact of a single multi-toned leg shook the ground, and the towering network of gliders. Girders? How do you say this word? Behind it trembled. I'm curious. Let's just listen to it.
Girders.
Yeah, it's girders, okay. I never heard this word before. I know the word, I just didn't hear it before. The clouds over the city closed in. What else can go right? Yep. The clouds over the city closed in, cutting off the sunlight, and rain began to fall as the grim mess behind the leader's nigh indestructible new body. RWBY drew crescent rows and worked the board. Well, hopefully Yang and Blake are having an easier time. No, they are not. Hundreds of miles away, Yang, Blake, and their Pokemon stood on the dock and surveyed the twisted remains of a container ship. The inchy thick metal had been torn like cheap plastic, and deep gorges scored their way across the entire hull. The massive vessel, built to withstand storms and survive impacts, with reefs and icebergs, looked like a bad story that had received attention of an aggressive dog. Oh no, they are the wyverns, right? Jinx twice. Yup. Jinx again. What are they called? The wyverns in the sea. Yang glanced at the partner. You know what we are gonna need? Blake glared back at the blonde. Don't say it, Yang. Yang smiled innocently. Say what? Blake's glare grew darker. Don't you dare say it. Yang's grin grew positively shit-eating. Don't say what? Don't you ever think about saying we are going to need a bigger boat? Oh, god damn it! You know, I was going to say we are gonna need some bait, but I liked your idea too. Yeah, there is a Pokemon named Jinx. It should show up now. I mean, would they actually know it's a Pokemon if it doesn't say its name? It's one of the most humanoid Pokemon. Even in size. We don't count Mr. Mime. Smile, you son of a... Sir squeezed the trigger again, and this time his shot managed to slip between the werewolf's massive teeth and impact against the back of his throat. RWBY had been right about the general usefulness, or rather lack thereof, of hollow points when fighting Grim, and there were still ways to work around it. As the monsters fell flat to the ground, such a second to study the battlefield, and battlefield was the only way to describe it. The some Pokemon were doing their utmost to stop the Grim from advancing any further, and the bodies of the Shadow Beast littered the ground until they faded away and were replaced with fresh dead. When two Jinxes show up and say their names simultaneously, they look at each other and keep repeating Jinx at the same time? Yeah, that might happen. But I don't think Jinx are very sociable. I don't. They are just like, oh, there is one Jinx. You won't see another Jinx in the premises. They're kind of rare. It's not like Sears when you go at the iceberg and see like 1,000 Sears on one spot. Such as his trainer's side, as always. His thunderbolts easily fried the charging beast, and the occasional thunder put down the more stubborn ones. RWBY was on the front lines and was looked to be having the time of his life as he grappled and electrocuted a swarm of spiky bears. Magnezone had pushed his levitation to the limit, as was providing an umbrella of close air support, alternating between clearing the skies of Raven-like and Hornet-like Grim and picking off priority ground targets. When the male and female Jinx love each other very, very much. I mean, is there even a male Jinx? Give me a second. Oh. There was a splinter in my finger. I had to pluck it out. Let me check real fast. So, Jinx. Yeah, there is no male Jinx. Only female Jinx is allowed. As you can see from the ratio, it's 100% female. And if you know the history behind Jinxes, they had to change their sprite a little bit because they were black before. Guess they only breed with Dittos then. Yes. The highest priority target though was still the Geist in the machine. RWBY and Vice were engaging it, leading the Colossus of Stone and still through a dance that looked like more graceful for the way their foe stumped clumsily around. Such had known special forces operatives that couldn't match the level of precision and teamwork these two girls displayed, and their little baby Pokemon were doing a fine job of keeping the swarm of their packs. It was impressive to watch, honestly. The Zubat was swooping about overhead, bombarding the monsters with air cutters, blobs of toxic and confused rays. The Raz was riding piggyback, teleporting both of them away from wow, that's a hard word to say again. How do you say this again? We are back to how to say this. Next time I will be like, hello, welcome back to how to say this.
Retaliatory.
Retaliatory, that's it. Okay. I know the word, I just didn't know how to say it. And I will forget it. From retaliatory strikes, or to support the other Pokemon who were busy holding the line. She was also waving that what looked like a Psycho Cut over her head, and yelling, "Fly me closer, I want to hit them with my sword!" While that was going on, the Huntresses were doing everything the guys threw at them with ease. Were dodging everything, okay. Was doing everything, yeah, dodging everything. The problem was that nothing they did was having any effect either. The thin slash marks and bullet holes pegged the hazard stripes cycling the concrete mixer, but nothing they have done had gone deep enough to inconvenience the Grim. As Sarge watched through the pace of the dance changed, a plan was put into motion. RWBY, visible only as a flowing stream of red and cloud of rose petals, touched the clumsy swing of an eye beam, and he found patched atop the bent piece of metal. The other arm stamped down at her, trying to catch the red head between the guy's hands, but she dodged that attack as well, leaping clear as the steel beams crashed together with a noise like dropped church bell. Fly me to the moon, let me dance among the stars. I shouldn't sing this because it's copyright. Luckily my singing is too bad. You remember, I had to mute that part when I was when it was the I will make a mon out of you. I needed to mute that. I could mute that. That was fine. The instant RWBY was clear. The red glow built up around Vice, and the plume of fusing plasma erupted from the tip of her sword. The lance of a flame struck the monstrosity's soul and limbs halfway down their length, Steam billowing, the ran boiled down in the heat. Yeah, I'm just saying the title of a song in melodic way. Was it melodic at all? I wouldn't call it singing. After a few seconds, the targeted spots had been rendered molten and fell apart, leaving the Grim with only a few feet of red-hot metal hanging from each shoulder as the rest fell to the ground. RWBY cheered and ready to crescent rose. She knew that the Geist would teach the users stomps and reach for something to replace them, and she would be ready to strike at the thing's actual arms in the few seconds they were vulnerable. She was taken completely off guard by the glowing metal balls that were sent spinning towards her at flying speed. The guy started so much teaching them as jettisoning them. The rat had eeped and dodged the thrown beams one after the other. Ha! Deja vu, but lost her ability to strike at the Geist, and likewise, she was only able to watch in dismay as it selected its new armament. The Geist tore more parts of the recently abandoned construction equipment. In seconds, it had seized the arm of a backhoe and the front plate of a bulldozer. Now equipped with flail and shield, the monster stormed forward once more, even as RWBY let out a frustrated "Oh, come on!" What would happen if the Geist possessed the hunter's weapons? I mean, it could if it wasn't in the hands of the hunters, because I'm pretty sure they wouldn't let it. Right? First he would need to basically separate it. But we know one thing. All of their weapons are aura-tuned to them. So it might not be able to take it on. I'm gonna say that the Geist is not able to possess the hunter's weapons. Because of the aura tuning to the hunter's own aura. Reminds you of Puppet Master animating a pile of little toys in Skydancer, right? Yep. It is literally the same as, except the Puppet Master was actually more or less vulnerable than this one. Sarge rushed by his side as the new enemy of guys took an expanded swing as RWBY. Well, this is FUBA. New plan? Oh, that's Sarge. Well, this is FUBA. New plan? More solid but needed special weapons to defeat. Yup. I mean, this one needs special weapons to defeat as well. If we consider that, right? Why select the Grim with narrow dice? You're not going to like it. I don't need to like it as long as it works. I don't like it. Quit whining and do it already. Why didn't bother to answer him? Oh, quit whining and do it already. Why didn't bother to answer him? Instead of calling out to a partner. RWBY, keep it busy. I'm going to need a minute. Okay, Vice, I got it. Got this. Ah, close one. Whisper, come here. I need your help. Instant later, Raz appeared with a flash of pink light clinging to her shoulder. What do you need? Can you teleport back to the Grim? I need you to bring me one of those thunderstones from the inside the case. Okay. There's another flash of pink, and the psychic disappeared again. Sarge frowned at her. Not that I'm thinking, but what would an evolution stone do? There is no Pokemon here that needs one to evolve. They are good for much more than that, but it's going to take time to get it ready. Rice looked up at the soldier. Her face stoic, but very visible in her eyes. Can you keep me covered while I focus? I wonder how much PP these Pokemon have. There is no PP in the anime. I would say there is no such thing in a real fight. That, oh no, you can't use that form more than one time. You can only use it 20 times before going back to the Pokemon Center. No, that is just a gameplay mechanic to make it more balanced. They have stamina. Let's just say it like that. I mean, we have seen rods teleporting around, flashing around all the time. So there is a limit how much they can do. But it's not counted by numbers. That makes actually damn cooler to use abilities like that, practically at will, yeah. And they don't forget the new skills. Or the old skills if they learn new ones. Unlike in the game. But that means that Pokemon opponents can do that too. Evenly matched, yep. No problem, between me and Sarge, nothing will touch you. Raichu! The oversized man was agreed. Whisper reappeared in Rice's arms, glowing yellow rock clutched in both tiny hands. Luckily, Ralts is not evolving from Electrostone, that's for sure. The Thunderstone. I was like, before Electrostone? No. How bad it would be if Ralts would evolve from the stone. Get it? I kind of know how to smash the glass though. Don't worry about it, kid. Sarge grunted as he drew a bird on the approaching Beowulf. His first shot only knocked a few teeth from his jaw, but the next caught it in his throat, dropping it. No, it's not sure. It's not an option for us to evolve. But what if it was, and Vice didn't know, and sent it to retrieve it? And you know Pokemon only needs to touch it to evolve. And we know one thing, which will definitely come in handy later on, that we will need to look out for. When a Pokemon evolves, it might change its personality. Just look at what happened with Charmeleon. And so the fact it expands the soul and Vice needed it. Yup. Surge followed up with a spread of lightning that dropped the next 5 in one burst. Then Dylan gave his EXO. We give him a tie. EXO. And the rodent grinned back at him. Vice ignored I guess his partner. Rising that the bodyguard's byplay as a tiny glyph appeared above her palm. The thunderstone hovered above the spinning snowflake, which began to take the small yellow hue as the crystal. The rest of the Sneeze legacy reached into her anchored gem with her aura, and found her soul bared to the fury of the storm. Starter Pokemon are the only ones that can obey you in game, no matter how high the level is. It's why I overleveled them. No. In the game, it's only if you catch higher level Pokemon, they might not obey you. But if you catch them at a lower level and level them up, they will still obey you. If you don't know that. So you can actually overlevel all of your Pokemon if you catch them at low enough level. I mean, it's not gonna be fun anymore because there is not gonna be any challenge if you overlevel. Or just use a Kyogre. That works as well. RWBY led back from another swing of the backhoe. And once again, failed to get a clear shot at the guy's mask. The one part of his body seemed to protect him off. The boulders had made too good a shield. Adding to our problems, the backbone arm was both a lot less predictable in its swing and larger than the I-beam, making it harder to dodge. Unless you consider overleveling fun. I wouldn't call it fun. But I would call it a necessity if you want to play Nuzlocke, unless you really want a challenge. She twisted away from another attack and shot forward, slipping under and past the massive leg, and it stomped down, and fired the gravity round into the beast's back, even as she rode the recoil to herself, to give herself some more space. RWBY had faith that whatever Vice was planning, it would help, but she wasn't sure how long she could keep the Grimm's attention without the ability to actually threaten it. The interest in training considered her ammunition options. The greater impact of gravity rounds dug a little deeper than the standard bullets, but not enough to really help. She couldn't concentrate the effects of fire rounds the way Vice had, and the guy's new arms were thicker than the I-beams anyway. Ice rounds wouldn't help either. Vice had already tried anchoring it to its surroundings, but it had torn through the icy bonds with ease. And Surge's team had already hit it with an air of lightning to prove that her own electric rounds wouldn't cut it. Actually, in Pokemon you can do both. There can be so many on your team, you can overlevel some and not others. That way when you want to challenge, you got that option. But if you are having trouble, bring the big guns. Wise to be prepared. Yep. I mean, if you are not playing Nuzlocke, there is no way to lose a Pokemon game. If you are just, oh, I cannot continue, I'm just gonna grind a little bit more. Only in Nuzlocke you can lose a Pokemon game. The only way to keep his attention for much longer would be to render herself the only available target. With a grin, she took the semblance, raised in front of the Grimm's masked face in a storm of rose petals, and darted into the labyrinthine depths of construction site, even as she hoped that whoever was building it had really good insurance. What happens with the total wipe? You black out and you go back to the Pokemon Center. And you lose some money. That's all. That's all that happens. Nothing else. And if you have zero money, you don't lose anything. You just teleport back. Serge allowed himself a small sigh of relief as the guys turned into RWBY's wake, lumbering after her as she led into the half-built maze of steam beams and concrete walls. He was under no illusions about his ability to fend the Titan off. Sarge's thunder attacks had barely made it flinch, and Electrifier's thunder punches had barely slowed it, and the burly ape cat wasn't agile enough to reliably dodge the thing's counterattacks, making it untenable strategy. If you are at the Pokemon Center at RWBY, the Pokemon in your team has full strength? Yes. It immediately fills back your Pokemon, I think. It's like, yeah, you fade back into consciousness after you healed back all your Pokemon. I'm not exactly sure though, because it's not that easy to get a total wipe, right? Unless you want to do it. Or maybe you are definitely underleveled. I think it only happened me at the Nuzlocke. Probably because the trainer never went down. That's in-game excuse why you ended up there. Yup. It's funny when you are at the the Team Rocket hideout and they are surrounding you. You lose a battle. Oh, you are at the Pokemon Center, and they didn't even know that you were in the hideout. You guys stop at Magnezone, estimating how useful Flash Cannon might prove if whatever Vice was preparing didn't finish the job. Would wearing a giant metal barrel make the monster effectively a steel type? Speaking of Vice, how much longer, girl? She didn't answer immediately. Starts trying to repeat himself louder, but was taken aback by her state. The dinosaur floated over her hand between a pair of tiny yellow snowflake gifts. All three components spinning like a turbine. Sparks being thrown off by the rock, occasionally crawling up Vice's arm, making her hands spasm and twitch painfully. Her teeth were gritted in concentration as she stared into a stone score. In search would swear, you could see tiny sparks falling from her eyes. No, that's funny. Get the surrounding and need a quick exit. And don't have teleport Pokemon? Don't worry, wipe out your own team and on purpose and teleport to the Pokemon Center. No, you only need an escape rope. That's all you need. You need a rope, like this one. This is what you do. I'm out. This is all you need. And yes, that's my doggo's plating, by the way. A flicker of light from above, and the roll of thunder dragged the soldier's attention away from the heiress. He looked up and failed to notice his mouth falling open as he saw the clouds. They were thick and pitch black, except for the electrostatic balls that leaped back and forth between them. The entire storm seemed to compressing itself, throwing inward to further darken the sky. The rain grew heavier, the wind howled, and the air itself felt charged with static. Such attention was torn away from the sky when he heard a choked up whimper from just beside him. Rice was gritting her teeth in concentration, but her eyes were closed against the pain. I went throwing in the towel. Damn's the rules, not even guidelines. Yeah. I can't. Too much. I can't hold it. She gasped and shuddered, the thunderstorm wobbling in its palm for a second before reassessed the control. The rods, still hanging off the girl's shoulder, hugged her tightly, ignoring the near continuous shocks she was receiving. You can do it, she urged. You can do anything. I mean, rods should probably use healing pulse right now. Rice opened her eyes, ground her teeth, and forced her will upon the energies she was unleashing. In the shadowed interior of the incomplete mall, RWBY took no notice of the changing weather conditions. She was too busy keeping one step ahead of the machine gigas thundering after her to pay attention to the actual thunder. It turned out that many more of the interior walls and floors had been built than the rat had been expecting, limiting her mobility sharply. Would it limit her mobility though? Too much? Well, we can say goodbye to that mall. They have to restart building it. The guys conversely had no such problem, and it simply smashed through everything in its path without slowing. With every earth-shaking step, chunks of concrete and steel beams went flying. Sections of ceiling collapsed behind it, rendering the route they had entered by unusable to escape. Thunderstone. It is necessary to have a Pikachu to ride you. Yes. And also an Eevee to Jolteon. This guy just had extra determination to evolve Pikachu. Maybe it was too cute and girly for him. Don't you remember? Did you see the actual series? He actually gave Ash a Thunderstone to evolve the Pikachu. And try again when he is stronger. That was when Ash decided to... Oh yeah! The way to train Pikachu up is gonna be like, I'm gonna be the water wheel. And we are both gonna get electrocuted at the same time. That Pikachu is gonna get the extra electricity. Yeah, Pikachu rejected the Thunderstone because of the same set of I said. That, yes, if Pokemon evolves, they might lose their own personality and it might change their whole mind, literally. And Pikachu didn't want to lose that bond that he made with Ash. I just realized something. How bad it would be if in the game, if you lose at a Team Rocket's fight, if you black out at a Team Rocket's fight, they steal your Pokemon and you don't get them back until you defeat them. That would be a fun mechanic. I mean, it wouldn't fun for some people. And it would actually make a Pokemon game losable without Nuzlocke. Robin low as Sheeran, and yes, it sounds like the Doctor regenerating. Knocking under a few bouncing chunks of rubble, and an abandoned rivet gun kicked up by all the destruction. And not at the same time, because the Doctor doesn't remember does he remember anything, everything, or I mean anything at all? What his old self did, or is it just a new one? Because in Pokemon they kinda remember what happened. It's their personality that changes. She had no idea where she was going, and had gotten turned around enough that she wasn't sure which direction led back to the partner and the lies. The quick dodge away from the guys' back home fair forced her to dive down another blind path, but she had to screech to a halt as she found herself back into the corner. His memory seems somewhat broken sometimes, but he does remember. Okay. I really need to restart the Doctor Who at one point. I need to watch from zero to the new series as well. It was a long time since I saw the last episode. I think the last thing I saw was the anniversary episode of that. When multiple doctors were together. The floor shuddered again as the monster stamped after her, but she didn't look back. The hunter shifted into a cloud of rose petals again and leapt upward, bounding from the wall beam to pillar. She rose beyond the green's reach to the less finished upper reaches of the building, reformed, and fired a pair of shots into the Titan's body just to keep its attention. If you find the old series, let me know where it is. It seems pulled from the most sources. Yeah, that's gonna be hard to find. I wanna find it at one point. Now that Ruby had a second to breathe and clear her lines of sight, she could regain her bearings and start leading the monster back towards Vice, who was hopefully finished setting up whatever her plan was. She started making her way back, not hurrying quite as much as she had on the way in. With a fewer walls that constructed on this level, her path was much cleaner and straighter anyway. Angry stomping from below and the occasional trample through the floor made it clear that Guys was following, angry about her escaping in clutches. Within a minute, Ruby found her way to the balcony overlooking the entrance she had came through, complete with a window, without any glass, allowing her to see outside. Oh hey, there's Vice and Lieutenant Sarge, and the biggest storm ever, Vice. What the heck? Oh, some of the film got lost and decayed over time. Well, yeah, there was no internet at that time. I mean, there was internet, but it wasn't used this way. So then crash from below alerted Ruby that the Grim pursued her, had caught up and was on title, but she barely had time to glance down before a chunk of rubble, bigger than she was, fired from the back whole arm like a bolter from a trebuchet, struck her cleanly and punched her through the roof. I can't keep this up! Vice gasped, her voice strained as her mind and body. Where is it? Where is Ruby? She let it into the building. Haven't seen them for. There! Sarge pointed at the window on the upper level. A figure in her cloak clearly visible in the lightning lit room. Mr. Grimm, I can't hold onto this much. Vice gasped in dismay as something smashed into Ruby from below without warning, launching the girl through the ceiling and beyond. Then shrieked in mingled pain and horror as the distraction ruined the teeniest hold she had on the thunderstone. A bolt of lightning lanced up to the clouds, and they began to glow with power as the forces converged. Clutching her trembling hand in pain, Vice could only watch helplessly as Ruby's fight ended and her fall began. The girl limp as a ragdoll. Above her, the sky flashed as the power of Vice's gathered was unleashed. Below her, the guys bellowed in triumph, the monster's voice echoing with a metallic roar. And through the falling rain and blinding flashes, the tiny dot of blue reached the streamer of red. Oh! Nox tore through the rain as fast as his wings could take him. Through the sheets of falling water, he could sense a human form wrapped in a long cloak, trembling helplessly. RWBY needed him. He reached her just as her upward momentum was spent, and she began to sink back down, toward the Grim that had launched her in the first place. He sank his fangs into the collar of a voluminous cloak, and flapped until his wings felt like they would fall off. RWBY needed him. He made no progress. They continued to fall, barely slowed by his frantic flight. His trainer groaned. Oh. I can see where this is going. This is where Zubat is gonna evolve. Because RWBY needs him, and he cannot lift her up with this body. They continued to fall, barely slowed by his frantic flight. His trainer groaned, stirred a little, but didn't fake. The flying type couldn't see the power gathering in the clouds above, but he could certainly feel the crackle of static in the air, and it crawled up his spine, and it could smell the stink of ozone. He couldn't lift her above the geist. He wasn't strong enough. He couldn't get clear of the lightning. He wasn't fast enough. He couldn't shield her in any meaningful way. He wasn't tough enough. He didn't care. RWBY needed him. Nox reached deep, drawing on reserves he didn't know he had. He heard Vice's scream off in the distance, but ignored her. He shrieked as well, but didn't notice. RWBY stirred, cracking an eye as consciousness began to tentative return. She didn't know what was going on. Nox? What? She got a glimpse of the bad thing flapping just behind her, and a biting flash from above. And for RWBY Rose, the world became light. RWBY! Super! You're welcome. I didn't shout with full force. RWBY? RWBY, please! RWBY stirred, whimpered faintly as she strained her aching everything. Wake up, Ru! She couldn't remember why she heard. There had been something about flash of light and Nox. RWBY's eyes snapped open. Nox! He had been with her when whatever it was that had happened. Was he okay? Oh, thank goodness, RWBY. Can you hear me? Blinking in surprise, RWBY managed to focus on the source of the voice and found her partner kneeling over her. That put a lot of other things in perspective, and RWBY managed to piece together a lot more in a hurry. She was lying on the ground, on her back, her cloak bundled up to serve an impromptu pillow. The rain had stopped and the clouds had mostly dispersed, allowing the sunset to turn everything to shades of orange. Weiss, shivered and favoring her right hand, which had been hastily bandaged, was leaning over her with an expression of pure relief that clashed with the tear tracks running through the dust and grime on her face. Weiss, what happened? Where is Nox? Is he okay? Is he okay? You're the one who... Weiss stopped and took a deep breath, which then turned into a chuckle. You tell me. She gestured towards something, and RWBY suddenly took notice of the weight. Not much, but something on the belly. Tilting her head up, RWBY came to face with something she had never seen before. Her first impression was a purple jelly bean size of her head, but it stood upon her gut on a pair of tiny clawed feet. A pair of triangular ears kept its top, and 2 pairs of Chiropteran wings. Wait, 2 pairs? Did it really double evolve the Zubat into a Crobat? Is it even possible to have a double evolve? I mean, it got a lot of experience points, that's for sure, for defeating or taking fight in a Geist fight. And 2 pairs of Chiropteran wings with blue membranes stretched to the sides. In the middle of the body was a mouse, with full set of teeth, including fangs, but above it was a pair of piercing eyes, a red iris set in yellow sclera? Maybe. What if you get the first chance? Level up past that? You accept? No, in the game you can only evolve once at one time. There is no double evolve in the game. I know, I tried. Such a face was certainly capable of intense, intimidating glass, but instead its gaze contained only worry and hope. Crobat? RWBY stared. Nox? Nox, is that you? Gravel crashed onto a heavy boot, and RWBY turned to see Sarge approaching with a bemused grin. I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of Pokemon evolve in my time. I've seen a few chain evolutions. When the Pokemon evolves once, they manage to evolve again in a few minutes later. But this, he gestured at the color-emitted bat, is a new one. Never heard of a Pokemon evolving that forcing himself to keep evolving. Yeah, it is a new thing. Never heard of this thing. Oops. I didn't want to quote that. I pressed quote. Oops. Let's go back up. Yeah, we were here. Random misclick. He punched straight to the robot and didn't stop for anything. RWBY and Vice and Whisper, who RWBY finally noticed was once again clinging to her big sister's shoulders, turned back to Nox, staring at him blankly. I mean, it is possible for Whisper as well, it seems. The red went Super Saiyan, yep. The red just kind of shrugged sheepishly. I'm curious, what will happen, now that Nox knows how they look like. Because until now, Nox couldn't see. He could use echolocation, kinda guess what form they have, but they couldn't see what they look like. Yep. The one Super Saiyan. Sarge continues, scratching his chin thoughtfully. I'm actually curious. Is there a Mega Crobat? Wait, there is a Mega Crobat? Or is this just a fan-made one? It's an idea artwork, okay. There is no Mega Crobat. Sarge continues scratching his chin thoughtfully. That's probably why he's still so tiny. Gorbats are a lot bigger than Zubats, but Gorbats are just a little bit bigger than Gorbats. He pushed himself into second evolution so fast he didn't finish growing to Gorbat size, so the Crobat evolution only made him this big. It's a small Crobat! The tall man shouted, "Course, I'm pulling this out of thin air. I'm a soldier, not an egghead." RWBY ignored the theorizing for a moment. She was too busy staring into her Pokemon's brand new eyes, marveling at the changes she had gone through. She suddenly sat up, grabbed her saddle bat as he fell backwards, and hugged him close. "Thank you," she whispered, not trusting herself to say anything more for the time being. He hugged her back, squeaking with joy. Nox's voice should be deeper now. Yeah, I went to puberty now. After a moment passed, RWBY looked up at the partner. "So, we won, right? You got the Geist?" Weiss just smiled ruefully at it and gestured toward the wrecked mall. "Again? You tell me." RWBY stared at the remains of the machine gigas, off-metered and completely disassembled. The concrete mixer was still smoking and cracked. The concrete seemed to have exploded off the rebar, making up the legs, and the backbone was smashed into pieces. And there was a puddle of matted and solidified metal that had probably once then bulldozed the shield. Once been the bulldozer shield. Okay, yeah, I guess you did. No, this is being written by. Where is the slider? By Darwin candidate. You kinda can see it, but it's in the description. The name is in the description. Who wrote it? Let's go back where we were. Okay, we spell you are next. Make your mama proud. Yeah, I can see that. And I can see Whisper being jealous. Still holding Nox, she started to get up. Only for Vice to lean over and help her. Take it easy, you just woke up. I'm fine. You're the only one who hurt her hand. How did it happen anyway? Just a little backlash, nothing compared to what happened to you. Yeah, we can tame the music now. There you go. Just a music. I guess it's fitting for now. The metamorphosing was interrupted by a rumble and groan of shifting rubble. Are you sure we have to tame the music? Iron froze as the concrete mist rocked from side to side. Injured and occupied holding each other up, Vice and RWBY could only gape in horror as the guys rose from the wreckage of its shell that had mass of black matter shaped like the upper of a human. There were spikes of bone rising from its back and visible ribs of its chest, and the mask with a single glowing eye in the center. Surge scrabbled for his gun and Raichu readied the bolt of lightning, but before any of them could attack the guys, the guys moved. The monster, aware of its exposed state, sought immediate refuge in the nearest construct that could contain it, a tall, narrow box of heavy-duty weatherproof plastic, with a door on one side and a tiny air vent on the top. I know what it is. Everyone stared. Sarge was the first to find his voice. Did the thing just try to put us a bottle clipper? Vice coughed delicately. Yes, that seems to have happened. The guys drifted back out of the portable toilet and slowly hovered away, one hand covering the bottom of its mask like it was now seated. Such the only thing... I mean, would the guys would be like, oh no, shit, no. It would actually use it as a weapon. Sarge, the only one with a weapon in hand, leveled his pistol and put it out of his misery with one clean headshot. It dissipated quickly, leaving no trace of its existence, except for the wrecked construction side. Well, since Young isn't here, I guess I gotta make a joke. It was... excremental! I am the great mighty Pooh. Vice shot her partner a disgusted look, but in the end, she couldn't help but laugh. Will you stay there and Miss Arrows about the haunted porta potty? I mean, they wouldn't let it stay there. Because it can gather its energy back, gather more stuff again. When it feels like, okay, they are gone, I can now get all the buildings materials again. It's not like it cannot like exchange his body parts after it possessed something. After the rest of the game had been dispatched and gathered a crowd of police, volunteer trainers, Pokemon and civilians had finished cheering themselves hoarse for the heroes who had defeated the titanic monster threatening their city. Sarge managed to quiet the mob down and turned to face the huntresses solemnly. I know you won't have long to rest on your laurels before you get sent to go deal with some other emergency, Lieutenant told them as he produced a small case from his pocket. But with everything the two of you did, there's something I need to give you both. RWBY and Vice, surprised by the gruff soldier's sudden offer, Watch curiously as he opened the case and removed a pair of small starburst pins that gleamed like gemstones. They got the gym badge. I mean, they definitely earned it. The other scenario seems to have less focus, the one with Blake and Young. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the next chapter. When we see the other side, what happened there. Sarge cleared his throat and stood at attention. Darwin go by the girls, his Raichu standing at his side and mimicking his trainer's stance as much as his physiology. Physiology or psychology? Physiology, yeah. I know that you guys aren't actually taking the gym challenge, but as far as I'm concerned, you are both more than under Thunder Badge, which also makes you two part of an exclusive group, the very few elites who managed to get the Thunder Badge as your first in Kanto. Wait for the next chapter, yep. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be that. He placed the pins in their hands and offered them a respectful salute. Are you gonna give them a pin holder as well? A badge holder? Because it is something you give them as the first badge, right? For everything you've done in Vermilion, and everything you will do from this point on. Thank you both. Thank you, Lieutenant, Vice said, giving him a sincere smile. All of Team RWBY had gotten an explanation of the gym challenge and badges, so both girls realized the significance of such a gift. Those pins can be used as hairpins? No. They are really like these, really small pins like this. You can't use these as hairpins, you just put them on the on your clothes. I mean, RWBY can put them on her skirt. They can put them on their skirts if they want. That would work. I mean, these are the two girls who have skirts. The crowd almost entirely made up well over 100 people who had a clear view of the battle against the Geist, clapped and cheered wildly. RWBY and Vice blushed and shared a small grin with each other as the adulation of the crowd washed over them. This was what it meant to be a huntress, to fight to defend the helpless, and to know what had made the difference. That because of your actions, people lived who would otherwise have died. The gratitude and praise weren't important, but they had the feeling that they had done their job, and done it well. Both girls, shy and sheltered in their own ways, didn't really know how to deal with it. They chose to simply enjoy the moment while it lasted, and waved back out to their well-wishers. I guess we are back to Remnant. Epso stared at the stubbly-legged dog. Zwei stared back, panting cheerfully as he looked down at the white fur Pokemon from where he sat. They both gained a level, not just a level. A lot more levels. 1 foot tall Pop was able to look down at the 4 foot tall Dark Time because of what he was sitting on, a massive pile of freshly dead Grim of the various kinds. The pile was of course dissolving, so after 30 seconds Zwei was back on the ground, looking up at Absol. Absol was still staring. Are you sure that you aren't like a Korgion or something? Oh my god, that's gonna be amazing if they can talk with Zwei. Spoiler! Oh, the evolutions and the Korgion evolutions. It's a meme. I mean, this is definitely the older ones. There is no fairy type Eevee. I forgot her name because I didn't have fairy types. Sylveon. That's the name, right? There is no Sylveon yet here. German Shepokian. Korgion. Wow. But yeah, it was a really nice chapter. We definitely do a like here. There we go. And tomorrow we are gonna continue. Now I'm gonna order some food. Because I'm starting to get hungry and it needs at least an hour to get here. I do have some food, but I'm gonna take that to work. I need something to eat as well. Not just to take it with me. But yeah, it was a really nice chapter, and next chapter is definitely gonna be the continuation. And I'm probably gonna record the Beyblade episode, because if I don't do that, I will get chewed on. While I'm waiting for the food. But yeah, tomorrow, at the same time, we are gonna continue with the other side of this story. What happened with Team... Bye. Team Bye. Blake and Yang. No, it takes an hour because it's pizza. I mean, it usually takes more than an hour, but that's fine. But yeah, thank you for being here. But now I'm gonna leave and probably just get ready to do some other stuff, like have a shower, record a Beyblade episode, wait for my pizza, and lay back before work. Ah, he had a problem. Vaccine 22. If you can see the whites of the eyes, somebody's done something wrong. I mean, yeah, it's really a thing. When you can see the white of the Grimm's eyes, somebody's done pretty something wrong, because I don't think the Grimm has white of the eyes. But yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye bye. And now I have to remake the remake of the image, because now it's not a Zubat, it's a Crobat. It's a little Crobat. For what Yang has. It's fine. I will do that at one point.